You have already killed my doppelganger and taken my split spirit, which is enough to settle the grudge from years ago. Why do you still want to wipe me out completely? We cultivators' cultivation is hard-earned. You treat me this way today, and one day, someone will do the same to you. The voice of mystic tone Tao Venerable was sharp, echoing from the depths of the sea. As the sound reverberated, the entire golden sea roared, and towering waves surged, spinning into a massive whirlpool that directly led to the seabed where Mystic Tone was located. At this moment, Wang Lin was in the sky, and Mystic Tone was beneath the sea. A whirlpool separated them, yet they could clearly see each other. Mystic Tone did not choose to escape like Nine Heavens had. He knew that his cultivation had fallen too much, and in front of Wang Lin, he had no chance of fleeing. Today, I won't kill you. I'll just send you to your next life. Wang Lin gazed at Mystic Tone Tao Venerable in the whirlpool below, raising his right hand casually, reaching downwards. A giant hand materialized and howled as it sped toward the sea, grabbing at the water below. Mystic Tone's expression changed rapidly. His gaze fixed on Wang Lin's face, his mind struggling wildly. He knew Wang Lin better than Nine Heavens. When Nine Heavens heard next life, he thought it meant Wang Lin would kill him and thus tried to escape. But Mystic Tone didn't think so. Next life, where to? As the giant hand reached for him, Mystic Tone immediately screamed, "Immortal Firmament Continent." Wang Lin's voice echoed, and with a loud rumble, the enormous hand broke through the sea's whirlpool, grabbing Mystic Tone. Mystic Tone's mind jolted. Bitterly, he gave up all futile resistance, closed his eyes, and allowed Wang Lin to seize him. After sealing him, he stored him in his storage space, fusing his split spirit with him. The sea calmed, and everything seemed as if it had never happened. Wang Lin turned and walked toward the sky. There's also a void god heavenly venerable. In the starry sky, Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and he looked far into the distance. In his divine sense, he located the retreat of the void god heavenly venerable. This void god heavenly venerable had once had his doppelganger killed by Wang Lin, and his true body was severely injured. After that, he had not stepped into the inner realm again. This matter should have been concluded. However, leaving this person alive would be a future disaster. Wang Lin did not want to leave everything to Blue Dream and Southern Cloud Master. He intended to handle it himself. He scanned the starry sky, and Wang Lin vanished into the ancient stars of antiquity. In the southern part of the ancient stars of antiquity, an area filled with shattered stones and debris, there had once been a cultivation star. After it collapsed, it turned into countless fragments drifting around, forming a land of death. The void god heavenly venerable was hidden here. He had given up on returning to the inner realm and even abandoned any thought of competing for power. However, whether this was temporary or permanent, even he didn't know. At least for now, he dared not enter the inner realm. Deep in his heart, he harbored great fear of Wang Lin. At this moment, he was sitting cross-legged on a piece of shattered stone, constantly breathing in and out, absorbing the power of the starry sky to nourish his body, contemplating the changes of the stars. If left undisturbed, he might sit like this for thousands of years, until his cultivation was fully restored, until he reached the peak again, and until he emerged to regain control of the stars, commanding his cave mansion. He had that confidence, if no one disturbed him. In fact, even if someone did disturb him, the void god heavenly venerable was not afraid, as long as that person wasn't Wang Lin. But such thoughts were beautiful, and reality was cruel. On this day, the stars changed, timeless and unchanged, showing no signs of difference. Yet in this area of shattered stones, an invisible pressure suddenly descended. The arrival of this pressure instantly caused instability. A large amount of debris collapsed, turning into countless fragments that spiraled backward, resembling star halos scattered across the sky. The void god heavenly venerable suddenly opened his eyes, revealing bitterness. He saw, in the starry sky ahead, a white-robed figure, one he could never forget. The figure floated toward him. That head of white hair was like a nightmare, causing the void god heavenly venerable's heart to tremble. He still came. The void god heavenly venerable was silent, watching Wang Lin, who was slowly approaching. Despair flickered in his eyes. "Wang Lin, back then I wanted to take your body and kill you, but all failed. My doppelganger died, and I swore I would never step into the inner realm again. Please spare me this once." The void god Heavenly Venerable rarely spoke in such a tone, but at this moment, he had no choice but to do so. He stood up and bowed with cupped hands toward Wang Lin. On a shattered stone 100 feet in front of the void god Heavenly Venerable, Wang Lin stood, gazing at the void god Heavenly Venerable. After a moment of silence, he slowly spoke. "You don't belong here. I am leaving for the immortal Firmament continent. Many have already chosen to reincarnate and go there, and you should go too. Only then will I feel at ease." The void god Heavenly Venerable's expression changed. Countless thoughts surged in his heart, but in the end, it turned into a long sigh. "If you leave here and are worried about me, have you considered that if you leave for too long, countless talented individuals will be born in the ancient stars beyond the realm? In the future, there may be someone even more troublesome than me. Can you prevent them all? I can't eliminate everything, but I can send all the third-step cultivators from every clan in the ancient stars beyond the realm to be reincarnated. Those who refuse will be killed." Wang Lin spoke calmly, but the meaning behind his words was enough to send a shockwave through the hearts of all who heard him. The void god Heavenly Venerable remained silent for a long while, his gaze toward Wang Lin filled with even more fear. "He's gone mad. He's forcing people to reincarnate. What choice do I have?" The void god Heavenly Venerable gave a bitter laugh, surrendering and closing his eyes. Wang Lin flicked his sleeve, immediately pulling the void god Heavenly Venerable into his storage space, then turned and left. The Xun'er clan, a fallen branch of the ancient stars, had once participated in the war between the inner and outer realms. Though their clan was small, they had an ancestor who had reached the third step. This ancestor, seeing the situation turning dire, quickly chose to retreat and no longer ventured out. Their clan resided in an area with nearly 100 cultivation stars. On this day, however, in the starry sky outside the Xun'er clan, Wang Lin walked slowly toward them. With each step he took, the ground trembled with thunderous roars, forming sound waves that surged toward the Xun'er clan. In an instant, he stepped onto a cultivation star, causing it to shake violently. Wang Lin strode calmly toward the highest peak of the star. At the peak stood a great hall, within which sat a middle-aged man in meditation. As Wang Lin stepped in, the man suddenly opened his eyes, filled with horror and fear. He was about to rise, but then his body trembled as a right hand appeared out of thin air behind him, gently pressing down on his shoulder, pinning him firmly to the ground, unable to move. "Wang Lin will send you to reincarnate." That was the last thing the man heard before his vision went black. A terrifying power surged through his body from the hand on his shoulder, forming a seal that locked away his spirit and mind. Moments later, Wang Lin emerged from the Xun'er clan. No one knew of his arrival, and no one knew of his departure. After leaving the clan, Wang Lin raised his right hand, gently waving toward the region of cultivation stars where the Xun'er clan resided. Dozens of ancient leaves appeared, swirling and forming a blurred whirlwind, heading straight for the cultivation stars of the Xun'er clan, sealing the stars and the entire clan. From this moment on, this clan's cultivators are sealed from the power of the stars. Any cultivator from this clan will forever be stuck at the shattered nirvana stage. They can never step into the stars again. Wang Lin flicked his sleeve and turned to walk away. Wherever he went, even clans without third-step cultivators were sealed. With this oppressive method, Wang Lin ensured peace within the inner realm, doing the unthinkable. He took away every remaining powerhouse and sealed them all. Wherever Wang Lin passed, he sealed every clan, preventing any third-step cultivators from emerging. The entire ancient stars were now unlikely to produce such power again. For countless years, no cultivator would be able to leave their cultivation stars. Because of the strange seals Wang Lin left on their clans and cultivation stars, the ancient stars are no longer a concern. As for other potential threats, now is not the time to investigate. Wang Lin stood next to the formation between the inner and outer realms, looking back at the starry sky. After a long while, he stepped into the formation and left the ancient stars, heading toward the inner realm, to the Luotian star domain. Thus, Wang Lin completed his final task in the abode realm. He was about to leave, In the Luotian star domain, the golden gates blazed with brilliant light. Within, the dark mirror-like surface reflected the form of Xuan Luo, who sat cross-legged, his gaze fixed on the distant starry sky. He saw Wang Lin. Wang Lin stepped out, bowing toward Xuan Luo. Xun'er has completed everything, and I have brought a few others. Please, Senior, use your magic to send them to reincarnate. Wang Lin spoke as he flicked his sleeve. Instantly, 8 figures appeared before him. Each one wore a grim expression, their hearts filled with unwillingness, but they could not resist. After reincarnation, we will have no further grievances. Take care of yourselves. Wang Lin spoke calmly, his right hand waving forward. A fierce wind howled, carrying the 8 individuals toward the cave door, merging into the darkness within. Senior, I too must leave. Farewell to the immortal firmament continent. Wang Lin glanced at the starry sky one last time, then swiftly turned and shot like a comet toward the cave door, vanishing in an instant. Xuan Luo stood up, his expression serious. He stepped into the cave door. As he entered, the door rumbled and slowly began to close. Half an hour later, as the door was about to fully shut, a faint glow shot toward it from deep in the starry sky, vanishing inside just as the door closed. Volume 12. The 10th son of immortal Asgard in a vague trance, he seemed to see Li Qianmei and the others, continually moving along this road, heading towards reincarnation. Wang Lin, if you wish to protect that lingering soul, you must forcefully take her into the immortal firmament continent, to resist the immortal astral law. You must leave this place, and walk through the void. You may get lost, you may die. Xuan Luo's voice echoed in Wang Lin's mind. The immortal astral law is formless. It manifests more as a pressure. If you can endure it, if you can resist it, there's a chance you can break free. But even with my help, the chance is only 50%. Throughout history, I have never heard of a great heavenly venerable helping anyone from the abode realm to resist the immortal astral law. You may be the first. This is your luck, and there is no need to overly thank me. If you can escape, I will accept you as my disciple and take you back to the Dao ancient clan. If you die, the soul that reincarnates will be cared for by me. Take care. Xuan Luo sighed lightly. His regard for Wang Lin wasn't insignificant. He truly intended to have him inherit his legacy, protect the Dao ancient lineage, and guard the period of his reincarnation. He even considered helping Wang Lin to see if it was possible for him to enter the primordial divine realm and become the 10th son. Although this was uncertain and extremely difficult, he had entertained this idea. The immortal firmament continent has countless abode realms. Almost every sect has its own abode realm. Of course, for an abode realm to give birth to life, it must have the path of the heavens. While the path of the heavens is few in the immortal firmament continent, it is not rare. Throughout history, I can imagine that countless beings from abode realms have opened their gates, trying to break free, but they all perished under the immortal astral law. Your journey, leaving the dragon body path, may allow you to see many portals. Each portal is the entrance to an immortal firmament continent abode realm, and you might even see corpses, remnants of beings who perished over the years under the immortal astral law. I don't know what effect the beings from the abode realms entering the immortal firmament continent will have, but I hope you can be the first to succeed. I cannot stay for too long in the immortal clan territory of the immortal firmament continent. I will wait for you for 10 years. If, after 10 years, you still haven't emerged, then you will likely be dead. Xuan Luo's voice carried a deep sorrow as it gently reverberated in Wang Lin's mind. His figure manifested before Wang Lin, looking at him kindly, as though he were a younger relative. In the immortal astral law, I cannot leave a mark on you, and I will not know if you are safe. The only way to determine if you are alive or dead is time. 10 years, Wang Lin. After 10 years, when I leave, my magical power will dissipate, and the immortal astral law will explode to its fullest extent. Under such a law, a firm heart might be the only thing that prevents you from losing your way. Within these 10 years, you must come to the immortal firmament. Wang Lin fell silent, gazing at Xuan Luo. Everything Xuan Luo had done for him would remain in his heart forever. Now, before you leave, tell me, will you accept me as your master? Xuan Luo's voice was gentle, falling warmly into Wang Lin's ears. At this moment, to still offer to take him as a disciple before he succeeded in entering the immortal Firmament continent, instead of waiting until after his success, showed a determination that made Wang Lin's heart tremble. Master, Wang Lin no longer had any reason to refuse this heavy favor and responsibility. He understood that this title, Master, meant that from now on, he would bear an inseparable responsibility and connection to the Dao ancient lineage. This title represented his willingness to sacrifice even his life to protect the Dao ancient lineage. This title was his way of repaying Xuan Luo for everything he had done for him. Xuan Luo laughed heartily, overjoyed. He looked at Wang Lin, raising him up with both hands. He studied Wang Lin carefully before his laughter echoed. Disciple, I will wait for you in the immortal firmament. Xuan Luo said as he raised his right hand and waved it across the ice layer of the dragon body path. The ice instantly melted, creating a gap. Streams of eerie light flowed in from outside, and that eerie light was a part of the immortal astral law. You are my disciple. This is your initiation gift. Xuan Luo's right hand suddenly pressed on his forehead, biting his tongue and spitting out a mouthful of blood. His blood emitted a red glow and transformed into a blood dragon that roared and surrounded Wang Lin. It carried Wang Lin towards the gap in the ice. I am one of the 9 sons. I offer you a drop of essence blood to guard your path, and I will use magic to resist the immortal astral law, ensuring your safety. Just as Wang Lin was about to enter the gap, his right hand raised. A handful of eerie light flew out of the void. Within that eerie light were all the creatures and souls from Wang Lin's storage space, almost all except the madman. Su Ligua, Lu Jinbiao, the mosquito beasts, and all the other beings residing in Wang Lin's storage space, including the moon-gazing beast, which was too large to stay inside, began to show signs of emerging. These creatures have been with me for a long time, Master. Please send them to the immortal Asgard. Wang Lin had just spoken halfway when suddenly, the mosquito beasts, led by Wang Lin's mosquito king, began buzzing wildly. Their eyes burned with madness as they struggled and flew out without hesitation, heading straight for the crack in the ice layer and into the outside world. It seemed that there was something outside that called to them with irresistible force, something they desperately craved. Their mad rush was so sudden that even Wang Lin was momentarily stunned, and even Xuan Luo appeared visibly taken aback. Inside the pitch-black void, there was an invisible presence of the immortal Asgard rules, but the mosquito beasts showed no discomfort. In fact, they began to undergo startling transformations. Their bodies expanded rapidly, growing in size with loud booming sounds echoing from within. Eerie light flickered from their bodies, and they appeared to be at ease, as if they had returned home. This place, though not where they had originally grown, seemed to resonate with their souls, causing a conflict between their bodies and spirits, leading to their demise. It was like fish that had adapted to life outside water. Once they returned to the water, they could drown. Wang Lin was shocked and about to intervene when he saw the remaining mosquito beasts continue to swell in size. In an instant, 100 beasts as large as mountains emerged, only to collapse in a thunderous crash, their bodies exploding in all directions. Yet, the few remaining mosquito beasts kept expanding. Among them, Wang Lin's mosquito king, blood-soaked and letting out a tragic howl, seemed to be struggling against some unseen force, as though it were also merging with something. Wang Lin, deeply attached to the mosquito king, hesitated for a moment, but just as he was about to intervene, Xuan Luo flicked his sleeve, stopping him. The mosquito king, sensing Wang Lin's intentions, struggled further away and looked back at him with a determined gaze, as if resolute in its choice. Don't stop them. These beasts are extraordinary. Xuan Luo's eyes glinted with rare brilliance as he focused on the mosquito beasts, his tone heavy with seriousness. They are adapting to the immortal Asgard rules that now permeate the void. And look at them. It's as if their ancestors once lived here. Now, it's as if they've returned to their homeland. They didn't grow here, but their souls resonate with this place, creating a conflict between their bodies and spirits, which results in their deaths. It's like fish who, having adapted to life outside of water, would drown if they returned to the sea. Do not stop them. This is a vital transformation for them. Xuan Luo's gaze was locked on the mosquito beasts as he pondered deeply. By the time Xuan Luo finished speaking, most of the mosquito beasts had perished. There were less than 100 left, but each of these was now a terrifyingly massive creature. They continued to swell, and as they did, their expressions twisted in pain, mixed with a hint of madness. Despite their massive casualties, not a single mosquito beast retreated. Their minds were clear, and they knew this was their most crucial evolution. If they succeeded, they would return to their ancestral form. Their memories of their ancestors exploded in their souls during each surge of growth, especially Wang Lin's Mosquito King, the largest of them all. Its size was so vast that from a distance, it seemed to span thousands of miles. It was nearly identical in size to the enormous mosquito beast Wang Lin had seen in the Wind Immortal realm. A terrifying aura burst from the Mosquito King's body. Time passed. Half a stick of incense later, as Wang Lin grew more anxious, the remaining mosquito beasts exploded once more. This time, Wang Lin could no longer wait. He would rather see the Mosquito King fail in its evolution than let it die. The Mosquito King was like family to him, having accompanied him for over 2,000 years. At the instant of the catastrophic explosion, Wang Lin vanished and emerged from the ice layer, heading straight for the collapsing mosquito beasts. Just as he approached, a thunderous roar shook the heavens, followed by 9 more roars, all of which reverberated throughout the void. Even the void, filled with the immortal Asgard rules, seemed to tremble at the sounds. Amid the collapse, the Mosquito King flew out. Its size was so massive that it resembled a cultivation star, and its enormous mandibles were enough to send a shiver down the spine of any creature. Following it were 9 golden mosquito beasts, each over 10,000 miles long, comparable to the Mosquito King Wang Lin had once seen in the Wind Immortal realm. They floated in the void, their murderous aura emanating in waves, causing Xuan Luo's eyes to shine with overwhelming light. Legend has it that when the immortal Asgard continent was first created, it was a barren wasteland. Then, the divine realm emerged, opening the world and giving birth to all life. Afterward, the stars scattered, but they remained hidden beneath the land. Afterwards, the immortal astral law descended, existing within the void like seawater, within which 9 beasts, born simultaneously with the ancient ancestors and immortal ancestors, resided. These ferocious beasts could merge with the immortal astral, complex as it is. Could it be they? Xuan Luo's eyes widened in disbelief. Master, we have seen the immortal astral. Wang Lin turned and clasped his fists towards Xuan Luo. Beneath him, the Mosquito King let out a sky-shaking roar, its murderous aura overwhelming, charging into the depths of the void with Wang Lin. Behind them, the 9 towering mosquito beasts flew to the left and right like guards, all rushing forward in unison. Xuan Luo gazed at Wang Lin, who was gradually disappearing beyond the ice layer, and after a long time, he closed his eyes. With a swift motion of his right hand, the ice layer contracted, sealing the gap tightly. Are those ferocious beasts, resembling mosquitoes, truly one of the 9 beasts born with the ancient and immortal clans and the laws, as legend says? If so, Wang Lin's future destiny is beyond my estimation. He might very well, on his own, become the 10th son of the immortal Firmament continent. If he truly becomes the 10th great heavenly venerable, my Daogu lineage will endure forever. Xuan Luo's face flushed slightly. He was stunned by the scene of the mosquito beast merging with the immortal astral law. Countless thoughts raced through his mind. After a long pause, Xuan Luo walked along the dragon body path beneath his feet, heading towards the distance. A blood-red sun faintly appeared around him. This sun radiated boundless light, enveloping everything around it, battling against the immortal astral law. Faintly, outside the ice layer on this dragon body path, the radiance of the blood-red sun exploded, illuminating the pitch-black void, and, with his solitary power, engaging in battle with the immortal astral law in this way. Between the cave mansion realm and the immortal firmament continent, this endless void contained the immortal astral law. This void, boundless and infinite, was not confined to this area alone. It connected to all cave mansion realms beyond the immortal firmament continent. For countless ages, many prodigies from the various cave mansion realms, unwilling to accept their fate, had learned everything in different ways. They had either stepped out of the gates of their cave mansions or entered this void. But none had succeeded in entering the immortal firmament continent. All had perished in this void, their remains forever drifting. Similarly, many powerful beings from the immortal firmament continent had also tried to step into this void, to comprehend the laws here, or even enter the cave mansion realms of other sects through this path. But ultimately, though a few may have succeeded, they were very few, and often lost their way. Hardly anyone ever entered again. Thus, within this boundless void, Wang Lin occasionally saw the incorruptible remains of fallen beings. They would drift by him, eternally floating in this place. The void is like the sea. Perhaps, this can be seen as a sea containing the immortal astral law. Wang Lin sat cross-legged on the Mosquito King's back, gazing into the boundless distance. Around him was complete silence. There was no extraneous sound, no light, no spiritual energy, no trace of life. This place was a dead silence. In this place, one would go mad in the extreme stillness. The longer one stayed, the harder it became to control one's restless mind. Even those with the most steadfast will could hardly maintain calm after prolonged exposure. More importantly, it was easy to lose one's sense of direction here. Once lost, one could never find the way out. Even if one saw portals, those were merely gates of other sections. As cultivators of the cave mansion realm, they still couldn't escape. Especially since Wang Lin's goal was to bring Li Muin's soul with him. He couldn't afford to get lost. It wouldn't have been so bad, though. The deeper he went, the stronger the immortal astral law became. It was a pressure, an omnipresent force that made it impossible to move forward. Some had once tried to discern direction by the intensity of this pressure, but the immortal astral law was everywhere. Besides growing stronger the further one went, this law had another unique feature: time. The longer one stayed here, the greater the pressure became. Wang Lin had grown accustomed to solitude, to being alone. Now, with the mosquito beast accompanying him, he told himself that he wasn't lonely. Around his body, the blood dragon coiled. Not only did this blood dragon reduce the pressure of the law during the journey, but it also helped guide him in the right direction. Time passed slowly. During the first month, Wang Lin remained calm, moving through the void. Occasionally, he saw the remains of fallen beings drifting by, sensing the bitterness of their unwillingness to accept their fate. These people might have been prodigies of some cave mansion realm, like him, but now they had been dead for countless years. This tranquility, however, began to feel uncomfortable to Wang Lin after a year. In that time, he hadn't spoken a single word. His eyes seemed to blend with the darkness. Whether his eyes were open or closed, it was all an endless black. In the span of a year, there was not a single sound to be heard. In this strange void, even the howling caused by speed had completely vanished. He didn't know how far he had walked, but he knew that his direction should be right. The blood dragon outside his body had already faded, but it still existed, guiding his path. Wang Lin didn't know where Xuan Luo was, but he could feel from the blood dragon outside his body that Xuan Luo was somewhere in this void, escorting his friend on their reincarnation journey, resisting the immortal astral law. As a result, Wang Lin didn't feel the pressure of the law as strongly. This sensation warmed Wang Lin's heart. Occasionally, he would look back at the pitch-black void he had traversed. Faintly, it seemed like he could see the great gate of his homeland, watching him, bidding him farewell as he left. In his blurred vision, he also seemed to see Mu Bingmei's delicate figure, holding an umbrella in the rain, her face under the umbrella carrying an indescribable complexity. As for Mu Bingmei, Wang Lin no longer harbored hatred. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then half a year. Wang Lin had spent a year and a half in this void. In truth, he should have forgotten by now, but he couldn't bring himself to forget. If he forgot the passage of time, it would mean losing a sense of determination. 8.5 more years. After this year and a half, Wang Lin mumbled. His voice was hoarse, like that of an elderly man. The blood dragon outside his body had dimmed even further. Although he didn't feel the immortal astral law deeply, the 9 mosquito beasts following him were slowing down one by one. By the second year, the blood dragon on Wang Lin's body had almost disappeared. Only the faint guidance remained, but it no longer had any effect on counteracting the immortal astral law. It was at this moment that Wang Lin first clearly felt the pressure from the immortal astral law. The weight of it came crashing down on him, making his entire body tremble, as though a great mountain had collided with him. The power of the origin source also began to wither under the immortal astral law in this void, and could no longer recover. The more he used, the more it disappeared. This was one of the reasons the void was so terrifying. Even the mightiest powers, if they were to get lost or linger too long, would eventually fade away into nothingness. Second year, third year, fourth year. For years passed silently in this still void, the time flowing both quickly and slowly. The years passed quickly, but the heart dragged them along slowly. To Wang Lin, 4 years felt like 4 centuries. Under the increasingly intense pressure, he tried to meditate, but couldn't. In this void, a strange force prevented any living being from immersing themselves in breathing exercises. The only way to pass the time seemed to be counting the seconds, which was perhaps the only pleasure here. For 4 years, Wang Lin hadn't encountered a single living being. All he saw were remains, of cultivators and fierce beasts alike. The 9 mosquito beasts following him, despite being able to merge with the immortal astral law, were now struggling to withstand the ever-growing pressure, as if the entire starry sky was collapsing and gathering on them. Even Wang Lin's face had turned pale, and his body was almost at its limit. The 9 mosquito beasts were stored in the storage dimension to spare them the suffering of following, but the Mosquito King beneath him seemed unaffected. Its speed remained as fast as ever, carrying Wang Lin onward. When the 5th year arrived, the crushing force made Wang Lin feel as though he were sinking into mud. Even lifting his hand caused sharp pain, as if countless threads were entangling him. Yet, he persisted. The heavenly protection coffin in his storage space had already been taken out and strapped to his back. It was no longer safe in the storage space. Only by carrying it on his back and protecting it with his body did Wang Lin feel at ease. He understood that as long as he didn't die, this force wouldn't harm Li Muan behind him. All of Wang Lin's power was concentrated outside his body, focused on protecting Li Muan. Fortunately, the mosquito beast beneath him maintained its speed. Without it, if Wang Lin relied solely on his own strength to fight the pressure while continuing forward, the journey would be much more difficult. As Wang Lin journeyed through this void, making his way toward the immortal Firmament continent with great difficulty, far away, in the vast region where the Daogu lineage was located, in the floating city at the heart of the Daogu imperial palace, the emperor of the Daogu lineage, a middle-aged man in imperial robes, stood atop the highest tower, gazing at the dark sky, which seemed on the verge of rain. In his hand, a glowing pearl flickered with a faint light. Inside it, a blurry image could be seen, an image of a woman's soul, asleep within. The great heavenly venerable has been gone for a long time. Humph, for the sake of a mere cave-dwelling cultivator, he actually went so far. He's truly become senile. The protector of the Daogu lineage, aside from Xuan Luo, is now this emperor, and it will remain this way. I shall see what kind of person that old fool brought back. No matter his identity, once he meets this emperor, he will kneel and bow before me. The ancient Dao emperor clenched his fist tightly, squeezing the bead in his palm. Despite the bead being sturdy, the soul within trembled instantly, seemingly filled with intense fear from the pressure. The little ghost. Why would the national master say she will become an important object in my dominance over the immortal Firmament continent? The man in the imperial robe raised his hand and gazed at the trembling soul in the bead, murmuring to himself, "Well then, since you are so important, I will truly make you my empress. Yi Dao, try all the women we've found and see which one can inherit her soul." Understood. A distorted figure appeared behind the man in the imperial robe, cloaked in black mist. He knelt down and responded softly. This year, among the 72 immortal sects in the immortal clan, several prodigies shone brightly, one of whom was named Yun Yifeng. This year, the immortal emperor lineage, which nominally ruled all the sects across the 72 immortal regions, descended from the immortal progenitor. The Emperor Venerable emerged from his retreat after tens of thousands of years. Half of the immortal firmament continent seemed to be enveloped in boundless immortal qi. This year, some cultivators from the abode realm quietly reincarnated, but no one knew where they were reborn. This year, the 36 counties of the ancient Tao and the 3 ancient lineages did not experience much upheaval. It passed in a calm and peaceful manner. Each region of the immortal firmament continent is many times larger than the abode realm. Even a lifetime may not be enough for an ordinary cultivator to traverse the entire region. Especially between the immortal ancient realms, there lies a heavenly river. This river contains strange powers and is home to formidable ancient beasts. Only those ancient beings who have lived as long as the heavens themselves can reside within it. Even they don't venture too deep, turning the heavenly river into the first natural boundary for anyone trying to breach another's domain. The year flowed by quietly. In the farthest of the 72 immortal regions, one of the 9 closest to the heavenly river was Tianyo continent. If its landmass were reduced countless times, one might faintly recognize the shape of a bull. Thus, it was named Tianyo. This continent was relatively remote, far from the immortal emperor's capital in the immortal Nether province. Long ago, it was referred to as the Outer Continent. Located in the eastern part of the immortal firmament continent, it joined with the other 8 regions to form the Eastern Continent. The Eastern Continent consists of 9 sects and 13 schools, with the Violet Sun sect at the forefront, and the Donglin sect shrouded in mystery. Additionally, the Unity sect, Great Soul sect, and others make up a total of 21 sects, the most prestigious in the Eastern Immortal Continent. Outside the 9 sects and 13 schools, there were smaller sects, less powerful and unable to compare to these 21 giants, let alone the rumor of a 9 Suns Grand Heavenly Venerable within the Violet Sun sect. In Tianyo Continent, the Great Soul sect and Unity sect dominate the region. The 7-colored Immortal Venerable Su Dao, who once founded his sect, did so in a remote corner of this continent. The area is shrouded in black mountains, with undulating peaks and dense forests. A poisonous miasma hovers above the forests, making it rare for birds and beasts to be seen. Within these mountains, there is a lone peak, black mist heavy upon it, unbroken for tens of thousands of years. This peak was once the mountain gate of the 7 Paths sect. But when the abode realm closed, Su Dao sealed the 7 Paths sect, and with the passage of time, it fell into ruin. Now, the sect is devoid of life, surrounded by death. This place is where those with immortal ascension bloodlines, like Yuan Yifeng and Fan Shanming, all emerged after leaving the abode realm. Looking at their familiar yet strange homeland, they each departed. On one day of the 6th year, on the peak shrouded in black mist, if one pierced through the thick fog with their gaze, they would see many pavilions. At the top of the peak stood a grand hall, where the 7 Paths sect's ancestral hall once resided, and where the 7-colored Immortal Venerable had meditated. On this day, outside the grand hall, cloaked in mist, a figure slowly materialized. It was a young man in a black robe. Though he appeared youthful, the years had left their mark on him. He was Xuan Luo. Xuan Luo gazed at the faintly visible grand hall through the mist, slowly sitting down in a cross-legged position. Wang Lin, all have already reincarnated, but I cannot control when they will be reborn. It may be in a few years, or perhaps 1,000 years before they appear, but they are safe. Xuan Luo sighed softly, his eyes lingering on the hall, his gaze distant. He seemed to faintly see Wang Lin struggling against the immortal astral law behind the hall, trying to break free. There are less than 4 years left, my disciple. I have done all I can to help you. Now, you must rely on yourself. Xuan Luo slowly closed his eyes, a faint red light flickering at the center of his brow. That red light was the beacon to guide Wang Lin, preventing him from losing his way. In the void layer between the cave mansion realm and the immortal firmament continent, Wang Lin's face was pale. With his hands forming a seal, the ancient Tao power within his body continuously circulated, resisting the crushing force that came at him from all directions. This force had grown so strong that it was indescribable. If it weren't for the mosquito beast still moving forward beneath him, Wang Lin would have stopped right there. Even the Mosquito King had slowed down considerably, struggling in the pressure, occasionally letting out a soundless roar. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot, and the primordial force in his body had completely drained, shrinking within him as it failed to replenish. He could no longer use it, and the only remaining method to resist the immortal astral law was his Tao ancient body. It had been a year since he last saw even a single corpse in this void, a clear indication that those who had made it here were incredibly rare. The blood dragon on Wang Lin had long since dissipated, and even the red mark on his forehead had almost faded into obscurity. 7 years had passed, and for Wang Lin, it had been an arduous journey, especially since he had to protect his wife, Li Muan. With each passing day, he endured more pain, but he had no regrets. A month, 2 months, 3 months. Another year had passed. On the 8th year, the pressure surged dramatically, and the entire void seemed to solidify, weighing down on him. Wang Lin's mouth continuously bled, his vision was blurred, and he vaguely understood that he could no longer withstand it. In a bitter smile, Wang Lin struggled to raise his right hand and placed it on the Mosquito King's head, which was also struggling to move forward beneath him. Over the past 8 years, the Mosquito King had always accompanied him. Wang Lin could tell that this place might truly be the ancestral home of this beast. It was evidently more adapted to this place than Wang Lin. However, it wasn't born here, and perhaps it could fully adapt to the void after countless years. But for now, it was still unable to enter the depths of this void. By forcing its way through, the mosquito beast was exhausted. It still needed to merge more of the immortal astral law and evolve, returning to its ancestral form in its cruel metamorphosis. Don't go crazy with me. Since this is your homeland, stay here. You've been with me for over 2,000 years. Today you go. The Mosquito King trembled and let out a roar. This roar spread out in the quiet void, reverberating in all directions. The sound of the roar carried a sense of intent, a first-time disobedience to Wang Lin's words. It didn't want to leave him. It wanted to gather all its strength, even if it meant death, to take Wang Lin farther. Wang Lin smiled, despite the immense pain he was enduring. But this smile was full of joy. Shaking his head, he slowly stood up, a simple action that was extremely difficult for him at this moment. As he stood, a long dormant light sparkled in his eyes. A series of loud bangs came from within him, as the Tao ancient power erupted fully, granting him the strength to temporarily move on his own. With a hand seal, Wang Lin did not give the Mosquito King a chance to refuse. He slapped the beast's head. As the mosquito beast trembled, its movements were suddenly halted, and Wang Lin leaped into the air, turning into a streak of light, rushing forward. Go. This is your homeland. Don't worry about me. Wang Lin's voice was resolute, and as he moved forward, he swung his sleeve, sending the other 9 mosquito beasts flying towards the Mosquito King. In the blink of an eye, the distance between Wang Lin and the Mosquito King grew vast. A sorrowful roar echoed in his ears, a desperate cry like that of a lost child calling out to its family. Wang Lin's heart was pierced by that cry, but he didn't look back. Instead, he used all his strength to speed forward. He knew that this time, it would be a life and death journey. Since that was the case, why drag the mosquito beast down with him? Behind him, the Mosquito King broke free from the restraint, its eyes bloodshot, madly charging forward. It refused to leave Wang Lin. Even if it meant dying here, it would die by its master's side. But with Wang Lin's speed, especially after his earlier light tap on the Mosquito King's head, 10 times the restraint was now in place, appearing repeatedly to stop the beast from advancing. The mosquito beast was stopped 10 times, causing the distance between it and Wang Lin to widen infinitely. No matter how it searched, it could no longer find its master. Its mournful roar echoed endlessly through the void, reaching far away. Ahead, Wang Lin struggled forward, still hearing the mosquito beast's despairing cries. He turned his head, glanced deeply at the distance behind him, then clenched his teeth and continued to charge ahead. It had been chasing for a long time, but the Mosquito King still couldn't find Wang Lin. Its body trembled, and amidst the violent compression, it gradually came to a stop. Yet, it didn't give up. Instead, it suddenly turned around and, with the 9 mosquito beasts, sped off toward the rear. It needed to absorb more of the local aura, to evolve as quickly as possible into a state of ancestral reversion. Only then could it search for its master at a faster speed within this void. Time, the 9th year. It had already been a year since Wang Lin parted ways with the mosquito beasts. His body had reached the limit of exhaustion. With heavy steps, he exerted all his strength to protect his wife behind him. His eyes were empty, yet an astonishing willpower still burned within him. This was the rebellious spirit he had possessed for a long time. Over 2,000 years ago, as a child and a mortal, he had climbed the bloodstained steps before the Xun'er sect, never once giving up. More than 2,000 years later, he was still the same stubborn Wang Lin.